Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's video has 3 points, and you're going to want to stick around because the third point is a secret as to exactly why I do not use Fiverr anymore when it comes to ghostwriting. So let me get into it. So the topic we're exploring today is I used Ghostwriters on Fiverr. This happened. Now, I know what you're thinking. Many of you have heard about the idea of using ghostwriters, and maybe the thought crosses your mind and says, why would I do that? I'm going to write all of my own books. But there are a number of reasons you should possibly consider using ghostwriters. One of them would be you would like additional income, and you don't have the time to write as many books on these powerful keywords as you would like. You've figured out for yourself the types of books you like to personally write, but you've also learned a little bit about the process of getting your book self-published, which is a very powerful skill. And as we learn this skill, we also learn that there are certain keywords when it comes to writing books that are also going to sell. But maybe the topics are not of interest to you, but they are of interest to a lot of other people. And you don't have the time or the desire to write books on those topics. So why not hire somebody else to write those books? Not putting them in your own name, but putting them under a pen name, and then pulling these books together to create value out on the market so that they can be earning while you're sleeping. These books will continue to sell, creating more money to come in so that you can have even more time devoted to writing your own books. Now, you may have heard of the site Fiverr. This is the one that I do use for covers, but I also had some experiments I did in ghostwriting or having ghostwriters on Fiverr do some writing for me, and I am going to tell you exactly what I learned so that you do not make the same mistakes that I made. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Hit the subscribe button if you're finding this video and the content that I produce useful, because we want to beat the YouTube algorithm, and we aren't going to be able to do it unless we all pull it together. And that will help communicate to me that I should keep on making videos. In addition, you should grab my self-publishing secrets checklist below here for free to make sure that you're not skipping any of the key steps involved in winning when it comes to both self-publishing your book and also getting your book to sell with marketing. I've used this exact checklist over 200 times in order to get 200 books onto the market, onto Amazon and other sites as well. So you should definitely check it out if you haven't already. So a little bit from my own story. When I first got started, I had heard about the idea of powerful keywords. Now, that was before I first put out books onto the market, only later to discover that you need to pay attention closely to what the titles and the words that you're using, because this is the number one way people are going to find your books. But in the process, I began to find keywords that were incredibly profitable, but maybe on topics that I myself was not able to write on, or maybe I didn't have particular interests in those areas. And I figured, what is the best way to test out this theory of profitable keywords than using a ghostwriter, paying somebody else to produce the content. Since I already knew the process of producing books and self-publishing them, I could just as easily use that same skill set to publish other people's books, and in particular, ghostwritten books, books for which you pay somebody else to write. They write the book for you, and you own all of the rights to the books, and then you put them on, and you can use your standard marketing techniques that you've learned. Some of the ones that I've also learned with content marketing and running ads and stuff. Also, on the content marketing side of things, you can grab a copy and try out my course below on content marketing if that's of interest. But moving right along, the thing is that I was looking at trending keywords, and one in particular that came up was gratitude. Now, on the power ratio, which I've discussed in other videos using KD Spy, that is where we look at the total number of books with a basic sales rank under 100,000 in the top 100 books that show up for the search. We're then dividing the total number of books divided by the total number that come in that top 100,000. That gives us a ratio. I like the ratio of 30 or less. And this one, gratitude, did in fact show up in there. I paid a ghostwriter on Fiverr $30 to write 3,000 words on this exact topic. I had no idea what to expect, what exactly was going to happen. And the answer is, with the front and ending pages, it ended up being about 28 pages in the paper format for this particular book. That was something I was just testing out to see. I wanted to know if all the hype that I'd heard about this whole keyword concept was really worth paying attention to. And what exactly did I discover? Well, this book went on to outperform my own personal books that were 15,000 words long. I could not believe it. After that, I learned the power of a good cover. As you can find below in the description, you'll see the Fiverr cover artist that I use for my books and my affiliate link there, where she does an amazing job of producing high quality covers. I went back and had all of my covers redone, and she was able to fix a lot of the broken covers that I had done before, where either I had done them myself using Canva or GIMP in order to Photoshop the covers together. But by paying a professional graphic artist, I was able to get a much better result out of it. And what did I discover was that these ghost-written books with highly optimized covers were outperforming the books that I had written personally myself, not because they were higher quality, but because, in a sense, the keywords they were targeting were much more specific, and there's an audience out there that was really looking and hungry for those books, but there just weren't that many of them. And so I gave it a test. But let's get back to it. I used Ghostwriters on Fiverr, and I told you what exactly happened, but there's a couple lessons, 3 points that I want to hit on this. The first one was my experience after this one was that I found that the Fiverr writers were either writing so poorly grammatically that it took an insane amount of time to do the editing and fixing the books afterwards, or even worse, they were copying the content from the web. And I discovered that by using Copyscape, which someone had recommended. I am not an affiliate of them, but that's a tool that I use for any time I pay anybody else to write a book for me on a topic that I choose. I always run it through Copyscape. I need to know 100% that this is original content. I complained to Fiverr, and they did return the money. So I have to say that Fiverr does a great job on a whole series of things, but for writing, I would recommend not using them. But that brings us into the final point, and that's the secret of the day, is that I later chose to go with Epic Write. I did also try Upwork, but it's a lot of work to find a writer there. But Epic Write was the one that I went with to do the ghostwriting, and they ended up creating books for me that were incredibly high quality. The editing, I did not require additional editing too much on those books, though I did in fact have a bit done. We'd find a few issues with it. I always go for their top packages, the professional native English speakers for the writing, and the books ended up being high quality. And to this very day, as I'm looking at the curves on a daily basis of the sales, as you all know, when you put the books out there on Amazon and these other sites, I'm still seeing spikes in the curves based upon books that were put on the market years ago that were written by ghostwriters on Epic Write. And some of these books account for a large chunk of the money that I make on a daily basis, even outperforming my own books, which I guess you have to be humble at some level to understand that if you're going to write books that you just find the topic interesting, you're not going to make as many sales as if you engineer those books to target markets where the people are already hungry. And then we push paid advertising, which is something that is an absolute must, and content marketing against those books, and see exactly what results you can achieve by going this route. Now, this route is not for everyone. Only people who actually have, maybe you have the money to go about investing in this particular route as an investment. This is an asset. You're going to own these books. So these books are going to be selling on a daily basis. You're going to see your profits going up, and that gives you more time to spend writing your own books and paying for the tools that are necessary to make even better sales on your own books, in addition to more for ads and paid per click, all sorts of things that you can do in order to leverage your own books. And one other common objection that people have is, but isn't it unethical to pay somebody else to write a book for you for which you own the rights? Well, the fact is that many traditional publishers and others, and even magazines, pay people all the time to write for them. There is nothing wrong with that. The only thing I would suggest is do not put these books under your own name. I only put books out under my name that I personally have written. And the other final thing is, when you have ghostwritten books, like on gratitude, for example, you're going to want to group these books together so that all the gratitude books are grouped together. They have to be logical, and you're going to want to you're going to want to use a pen name where they all match on the same niche so that it comes out there. And each book that we put out, we get just that much better in the process of producing content. And that is something that you're going to want to remember, is that for each and every iteration, you get that much better at the whole process. So these are just a few of my thoughts. And the secret is that this isn't for everyone, but if you are looking at actually investing, not just investing in yourself and your own books, but investing in an asset that will bring passive income to help further your own books forward, this is an outstanding way of doing it, especially once you've learned the skills of easy self-publishing, which is what I teach on this very channel. So that's something to consider there. The final question I have for you is, have you ever considered having a ghostwriter write books for you? Not in your own name, but under a pen name. But have you ever considered that as a way to bring additional income coming into your self-publishing business? If you have, I want to hear from you, because it will help me know that this is a topic that is of interest to you. So write yes below in the comments if you have considered using a ghostwriter, and write no if you've never considered it until now. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.